Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Third Coast Reptile right here on YouTube. Hey, are you guys in the market for a tortoise in 2024? Are you wondering which one you should get? Well, this video is for you. I'm putting together the top 3 tortoises you should buy in 2024. By doing this, I'm going to show you guys where they're from, a little bit about them, and of course, why they're so great to buy in 2024 as well. Also, I'm going to be doing an Under the Shell segment where I answer one of your questions right here on the channel. Oh, and at the end, I'm throwing in a bonus tortoise that will probably beat the other 3. So you're going to want to stick around to the end of the video for that. So at this point, you guys have done your research. You've understood the longevity of tortoises' lives. You've kind of gotten the idea of what you're going to need for their enclosure. Maybe you watched my how much does it cost to own a tortoise video and you decided, well, it's not that bad. I think I'm going to take this on. Well, the next step is choosing what type of tortoise you want to buy. The tortoises that I'm looking at today meet some criteria. And let me explain. The criteria of this, you're not looking at giant tortoises, so that's out. I'm not looking at tortoises you can only get in certain states because they're protected and it's illegal to bring them across state lines. So that's out. Also, I want to get you guys into tortoises that are hardy and good for even a beginner to take care of without them being too fragile, so you don't lose your investment and heartache over the hobby because your first tortoise you're going to buy dies on you because it's really sort of a advanced tortoise, if you will. So that's out. So now that we have the criteria, let's go ahead and get started on the first tortoise on the list. Okay guys, so the first one on my list here is the Leopard Tortoise. I'm actually considering a Leopard Tortoise myself in 2024. They're awesome tortoises. There are a couple things you need to consider though before buying one. And let's get into that. The first thing is there are 2 different subspecies of Leopard Tortoise. The Pardalis pardalis and the Pardalis babcockii. The Pardalis pardalis is a larger subspecies of the Leopard Tortoise. In fact, they're the 4th largest tortoise in the world. So keep that in mind when you're looking for these tortoises, that you look for that babcockii in the subname. So how do you tell them apart? How do you know which is which? Well, the Pardalis pardalis has 2 dots down the center of its scutes. And the Pardalis babcockii only has 1 dot down the center of its scutes. That's how you know their difference. Also, the Pardalis pardalis tends to be a little bit more expensive, so that can be an indication as well. The reason why they're so great and why I think they're a good tortoise for 2024, and the reason why I'm considering buying one, is because the success in breeding has resulted in a surplus online. You're able to find these tortoises for right around $145 to $200 max. And that is a really good price for a hatchling. A few years ago, Leopard tortoises were kind of hard to come by and a little bit more expensive, right around the $300 range. But in 2024, the prices come down, they're a little bit more affordable, and do your research before buying one, but I strongly recommend the Leopard Tortoise. Let's move on to number 2. Okay guys, the next tortoise I want to talk about is one of the most underrated tortoises in the hobby. I'm talking about the Russian tortoise. These tortoises are a small tortoise with a big personality. They're really fun to enjoy and watch in your enclosure. They're super hardy too. Guys, this is probably one of the best first tortoise owner tortoises to get in the entire hobby as well. They're really good natured. They do really well alone too, so you don't have to have a group of tortoises to make him feel happy. He's happy all by himself. He's chilling by himself alone. These tortoises are from Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan, and southern parts of Russia as well, which is why they're called Russian tortoises. So the reason why they're a great tortoise in 2024 and why they're on this list is because they're readily available. And because they're readily available, that market price has come down just a little bit. In fact, for $150, you can really get yourself a nice tortoise hatchling. So that's why the Russian tortoise is number 2 on our list. Now let's move on to the last one. Alright guys, last of the 3 tortoises I picked for 2024 is the Redfoot Tortoise. No, I'm not trying to be biased because I love them so much. 2024 is a great year to buy a Redfoot Tortoise. Let me talk a little bit about them first. So, of course I love Redfoot Tortoises. They're one of my favorite tortoises to have. Yes, they're a little bit bigger. They're in the more of the medium size, so you're going to need a little bit more real estate in your home to own them. But they're extremely hardy. They're a lot of fun to hang around, and well, they eat just about anything. They're garbage disposals with little nubby legs. And what I mean by this is that they actually eat fruit, and they eat vegetables, and they eat lettuce, and they eat like fungi, like mushrooms, and just a little bit of protein too. So if you want worried about getting a variety for your tortoise, you want to see them eat a whole bunch of different things, this could be the tortoise for you. Also, in 2024, these tortoises are being bred successfully and at a mass rate. So the market is absolutely flooded with these tortoises, and that's in your favor. Because of that market flooding, these tortoises have come down in price. You can actually get a Redfoot Tortoise hatchling for $100. And that was like 5 years ago, you couldn't touch one under $250 easily. In fact, that was one of the reasons in the how much does it cost to own a tortoise video, I was so shocked at how cheap they were to get. This is it for the top 3 tortoises in 2024 that you should take a look at if you're considering getting one. Now, let's get to that under show segment where I answer one of your questions right here. Alright guys, so today's Under the Shell segment, I'm answering a question from my mom because she comes up with some good questions. So shout out to my mom, you're doing great. So the tortoise question that she brought up was, how dangerous is it for a tortoise to be flipped over upside down? You see this happen in videos, people are watching the tortoise kind of flailing its arms trying to get itself upright, but what's the real danger here? Well, we have to go to the anatomy of the tortoise to figure this out. So you have the shell, and inside that shell is all the organs of this tortoise. And on the very top of that pile of organs is the tortoise's lungs. That tortoise flips over, then all of those organs push down on the lungs of that tortoise and it suffocates. It doesn't have the power to breathe. So that's the main reason why it's dangerous. If you see a tortoise upside down, you flip it back over, especially if there's a water bowl. That's even worse because not only are they trying to fight for their life for air, they're also going to drown for the same reason. In this kind of, I want to add this in a little bit too. So when you think about metabolic bone disease and that dip in the shell, that actually restricts the capacity of their lungs as well for the rest of that animal's life. So you can understand how important it is to make sure you're feeding calcium, your UV lights are in good shape, and you make sure that tortoise stays upright. Good question. So if you want to get your question answered here on the channel, you can do so in 3 ways. Number 1, you can go to Facebook and ask me a question there. Number 2, you can ask me right here on this video. Or number 3, you can go to the Third Coast Reptile YouTube community chat and have your question answered there as well. So, thanks guys, let's get back to the video. Okay guys, it's the end of the video here and I want to talk about a tortoise that could be better than all 3 of the tortoises we mentioned so far right here in 2024. So, this tortoise is, you wouldn't think of it as like an option for you, but the Indian Star Tortoise is a viable option in 2024. And the reason for that is there's influx of them on the market right now. I've never seen so many star tortoises, whether they're Burmese, Indian, or Sri Lankan. Now, of the 3 tortoises, let's get that out of the way first. The Burmese star tortoise is the bigger tortoise of the 3. They're a little bit more expensive as they're a little bit more rare. The Indian and Sri Lankan star tortoises are actually identical other than bloodline. They're from different locales, they get the same size, they require the same diet and habitat and all that stuff. It's all the same. So when it comes to the price, the Indian Star is actually just a little cheaper at around $400 for a captive bred hatchling. And that's insane. You're talking about the Ferrari of tortoises. The high-end tortoise that you can obtain for around $400. That's awesome. 2024, let's go. So guys, this is it. This is the end of the video here. I just want to let you know that I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me here. Get yourself an Indian Star Tortoise or a Redfoot Tortoise because they're my favorite. Which one do you want to get? Let me know in the comments which tortoise you end up with. So, thanks. Bye now.